me to support me for the in-depth technical details because he is more proficient than I am in these areas. This is a very high-level overview of the project. We're not going to go deep into the detail, but if you have questions that go deeper, just ask them in the end. If you want to have product side view or customer view, you can always use the official contact channels and you will be answered there. So a little bit of background about OpenTalk. There is a company behind OpenTalk. It was founded in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic by Heinlein Group. So Heinlein Group is doing since more than 30 years, I think already, consulting and training for Linux and mail operations, hosting, and it's also the provider of the well-known mailbox operator Mailbox.org. And the OpenTalk company right now has around 20 employees right now, so it's increasing slowly but steady. So who are we? I'm Wolfgang. I joined OpenTalk roughly 1.5 years ago and became the backend team tech expert, so more or less the technical lead in July this year, or last year already. I have a master's degree in embedded systems design, but I'm much more on the software side than on the hardware side. I'm doing Rust since 2015, and I'm still in the honeymoon phase, and from all the languages I've done, this is the longest honeymoon phase I ever had. And I'm the co-founder and organizer of a Linux user group, and you can find me on the Fediverse. So, Stefan.
Yeah. I guess I've been like 2 and something years with OpenTalk now, and I'm mainly on the media team, which is our thing for all the real-time stuff, audio, video, recording, streaming, WebRTC. It's kind of in between front-end and back-end. And yeah, I also have been in university before a long time doing parallel programming, operating system stuff, and also some real-time things and software-defined radio. So if you're interested in that, just talk to me later on, I guess.
Okay, some information about the project in general. So the project is written, or the front end is written in TypeScript. The back end is written in Rust. It is free software under the copyleft EUPL 1.2 license. You can find technical documentation online under this domain docs.opentalk.eu. There's also a Fediverse account called OpenTalk Meeting. You'll find it by that. And there is a Matrix channel as well, hosted on matrix.org. This is, the Matrix channel is where some of the devs are hanging around and answering technical questions, but it's not an official support channel in that regard. Okay, so the user interface, this is what the video conferencing software looks like. So it's roughly similar to what you know from other programs. It was important to make a nice design that looks good and is comfortable to use. We also have what we call the dashboard. This is where you can create meetings. You can add start and end date. You can add meeting series, and you can also get an email, or maybe that's on the next slide. You get an email when you are invited to a meeting or when a meeting is cancelled, and also the creator of the meeting gets the invite so they can put it into their own calendar. Okay, so short list of the features. We have a lobby with mic and camera check, so you can check that everything is working. We have some interesting moderation tools, one of them being the coffee break, which we will show in the next slide, a timer, so you can assign tasks to people and say, okay, you have 10 minutes for this, and if you want, then report when you're ready, and when everybody's ready, the timer ends, or when the timeout is approached. Muting participants. We have a polls feature and breakout rooms. Screen share. Yeah, that's well known for conferencing software. One important information here is that multiple people can share their screen at the same time, which comes in handy for pair programming. Yeah, you have the speaker view where you always see the large picture of the speaker, of the person who is currently speaking. You can call in from the mobile or landline phones via SIP. And we have integrations for a shared editor, which in this case is Etherpad, and a whiteboard, which is SpaceTech currently. Yeah, I already said the invitations, and right now we're in the course of finishing recording and streaming, so you can record the meetings, and you can as well live stream it, and the idea is to also allow streaming it to multiple platforms at the same time. So you can have YouTube, Twitch, and the Oncast stream at the same time if you want.
And if you're interested in that, talk to Daniel over there. He did a bunch of the work.
Yeah. Okay, so here you see a screenshot of the coffee break. That's what it looks like. Everybody gets this full screen as soon as the coffee break is started. But you can go back into the conference anytime you like. So for chit-chatting up front before everybody is back, just like in real life. And this is another nice feature we have. We call it the shared folder feature. So in the dashboard, when you create the meeting, you can enable this shared folder switch. It must be configured for this OpenTalk instance, but then the system will create a shared folder, or it will create a folder on a Nextcloud instance. This is the part that needs to be configured. It will create two shares to this folder, one of them being read-write and the other one being read-only. And the moderators of the conference receive the read-write link, so they can put their material into this folder up front, while all the other people have access to this either by clicking on the link in the invitation mail, or by opening it through the icon during the conference. Okay, so this is a more technical part. I'll give the word to Stefan here.
So that's what it looks like from rough perspective of the developer or the administrator of the system. So it's not just one big service, but we tried as much as we can to use existing components. So what we built mainly is the dark or the dark colored parts, and the other services are more or less what you get just from the different projects. So we use Janus and RabbitMQ for for communication, and Janus as media gateway, but we manage all the video rooms our own using our controller backend. And as said, there is a web front end written in TypeScript and React here, but it's kind of symmetric to what happens on the other side with the, I like to call them backend clients for streaming call and all that stuff. They just have another way of starting the whole process, but actually they do WebRTC and signaling just as a front end would do. And by now you have a way to authenticate services against Keycloak via service authentication. So that's also, we're going to see that later, where you can extend, that would be a way to extend our system in that part. It's meant to be scalable, so you can have multiple instances, and they just share their data where Redis, and so for the session stuff and for the persistence data, like which rooms do we have, what users are in which rooms invited, that's stuff that would be stored in the normal relational database. Yeah, and we'll do a lot of integration stuff on that OpenID Connect Keycloak side with other user systems or databases what people tend to have already on site.
Okay, so this is a sneak peek of Rust code. It's currently not ready yet, but we have a prototype approaching this. We are right now working on extracting the protocol data types into a separate library, which was not the case when I started working with OpenTalk. And the idea is to publish the client library to Crates.io, which is the default publication platform for Rust code. And yeah, it should be as easy as this. I mean, the authentication is usually a little more involved than these two lines, but you basically connect to the instance and can do things with the client. So this is now the web API for managing appointments and so on. So here we create an event with a title that we set, and then we invite a user with the email address alice@example.com and the role of a regular user. You could do the same for a moderator as well. So the idea is to allow automation and integration in a very easy and approachable way if you're familiar with Rust code. This is also what we will be using for the recorder which connects to the meeting session for the call-in via landline or telephone, and for other maybe future services.
So yeah, talking about these kind of services, that's actually the flow you have there. You build your new backend service, which will act like a client to the conference. It first needs to authenticate and get some access token, however you set it up. Then you usually just go to the back and say, hey, that's me and that's the token I got, so I'm authenticated and I would like to join this room over there which has this ID. And then you essentially, and by that you open a WebSocket where all the signaling happens, and you see like the publications of media streams. So the backend will just announce when new users arrive, and will also announce what screen share and camera stream they have. So you can then start a WebRTC connection with the Janus, and on that signaling channel you just exchange STP and other credentials to get the right stream set up. And here you would like, in our case, we usually use GStreamer as a media stack here, which you then set up to get all the streams and, for instance, do video mixing. And when you're done with your recording, so somebody tells you on the signaling, okay, stop now recording, you will just upload the file of the video it produced to the controller again, which puts it into a S3 storage, which is also currently we use for development purposes. We use MinIO, but you can use whatever S3 you would like. And there it also becomes available on that dashboard then, which also would work with other artifacts, so like whiteboard or meeting minutes would be the same thing, just another document format. Right, and what I missed out is the other way is when you don't initiate the action yourself, there's also the RabbitMQ service where you can just attach and listen for the controller to call you and say, hey, your service, you should do something like start a recording, for instance, and then just start a signaling session. Right, that's basically it.
Yeah, okay, that's also your part.
Yeah, so we talked, or we've seen a lot of components which are open source and which we integrate. There's also been, as we are a company, there's also been other companies and software developers which we integrated with. So I guess that's one of the main things and themes that we and other people have projects and try to integrate with each other there is like UCS, an integration where they basically have their key cloak and their user management part, and we just connect there. There is InnovaPhone, which does mainly zip and has also some platform, and we try to integrate there also via OpenID Connect, and made some adjustments to our zip stack so that we are compatible with them. And yeah, so it goes on. Like MGM is like, we just started, I guess. They talked about how we could do like components where you just would have the video, but it's like in the starting phase and not just the whole front end. And yeah, as many people use it right now, and there has been a high demand. We did an Outlook plugin, but there's also been some talk, I know, for the Thunderbird plugin, but it's just not yet on the way, I guess. So yeah, maybe just if you have some questions or need or want to do something on your own, just talk to us, and we'd be happy to try to tell you what's going on and to support it as far as we can.
Okay. Yeah, that's it more or less.
And so we try to keep it short, so if there's some specific questions and details, just go ahead.
You haven't mentioned end-to-end encryption yet at all, and I know that Jitsi has already some support of end-to-end encryption. And also, Matrix is now getting into the real-time communication business, and I was wondering, what is your strategy here?
Yeah, I can say a word. I guess it's not so easy as a starting point. The thing is, if you want to do end-to-end encryption, you basically don't trust the backend. That's a deal. And we're talking about a web application right now, which is like a problem, because in the first place, you would load your application from the server you don't want to trust. So we are looking into how we can ensure that you can really maintain the integrity of all your personal keys and all that stuff, and that's pretty hard to do in a browser environment. And yeah, of course we could encrypt media connections, but that's just half of the deal. So yeah, basically we're in the process. That's also a goal for certain projects we're working in, but it's not yet a thing I can say, okay, that's a route we're gonna take right now, and here are the details. So we didn't put it on the slides yet. So if there are questions on that topic, maybe we can have a discussion in detail later on. Or maybe if you have specific needs in that direction, also let me know.
I'm interested in what do you consider that are still like very important features or properties which is not yet in any open source video conferencing solutions, and which you are working on, which you also don't have yet, but you're working on. What are kind of still important pieces to come?
So yeah, as mentioned, this is the whole streaming and recording a part which we're right now in is one of the main things. So we can support like bigger conferences with a feeling of being in a room. So for now we're just doing the low levels or finishing the low level streaming part and the first UI part to enable streaming, but we're thinking a lot about how to integrate it, like to have a mode where you have a stage and an audience, and the stage would be like a normal WebRTC conference, and the audience would see the live stream and get a chat interface, but it would all happen in our user interface. That's something to come, I guess, but we have no time frame for that right now. And the other part we are from the project side in is all the telephony part, like zip and H323, I guess, which is the old video conferencing standard on telephony nets. Yeah, I guess there's much more, but there was another question.
So I work in an organization with 100 people, but once in a while we host conferences for a few thousand. And now I wonder, should we then have a very large Janus Media Gateway just for this one event per month? Or is there a way to scale easily down and up the resources? Because I've heard of federation of media servers in the Matrix context, and I think this is a very interesting concept when organizations have joint conferences.
So yeah, we also thought about that hard and long, and there is like a limit on, if you don't cascade Janus instances, there's a limit on how many subscribers can be for a single publisher, so the speaker in the room, and that's for our experience in the, say 300 to 400, depending on how you configure load balancing and all the stuff. And instead of doing cascading and all that, we are right now looking more into the streaming direction than into having it cascading and real-time all, because usually the audience will not interact heavily. And you would have to invest a lot into getting all of the people like fast in there. It might be a thing, and we are looking also into the Matrix, how Matrix does it with underlying they use LiveKit, as far as I know. But yeah, we are exploring the other direction with having it on streaming and getting people in and out of the room. Or also into the WebRTC conference, or back into the stream view. That would be my take on that. Because then you can just have it more resource efficient, like have a small meeting which is easily manageable, and also have a streaming setup which can easily scale for lots of people.
Thank you. We have one question online. No. Yeah.
So the question is there a support for island audio, as in a large meeting where two people can talk to each other alongside with the orator without interfering with the others attendees?
Yeah, this has been on the roadmap for quite some time already. The idea is to lower the main room audio volume and have a private talk with a subgroup of the conference, but yeah, it has not been implemented yet.
I guess we already have a specification for it, but not the time to build it yet.
Other question?
Thank you.